Hello and welcome to Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike with the news on the hour. Nigeria may cease to exist within the next 6 months unless there is a change in the system of governance. This assertion was made by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chief Robert Clarke, SAN, in an interview where he was also quoted as saying that there is no light at the end of the tunnel for the nation from an alleged looming implosion of several political parties ahead of the 2019 elections. According to him, as parties go into their primaries ahead of the polls, they will either sink or swim together. French President Emmanuel Macron, who is currently in Mauritania for the AU summit, will on Tuesday visit Nigeria. AFP reports that the visit is primarily for talks with President Muhammadu Buhari on security and terrorism challenges, after which Macron will also be spending some time at the New Africa Shrine in Lagos. Originally founded by Afrobeat legend Fela Kuti, the Africa Shrine was later rebuilt and renamed New Africa Shrine by his son, Femi Kuti. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Transportation, Dr. Taiwo Salam, while confirming the visit, said there would be traffic diversion and restricted movement from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. in the Alausa Africa Shrine and Agidigbin areas during the visit. He urged motorists to make use of the alternative routes that will be provided. Alhamdu Teneke, the Hamabata of Adamawa State, has alleged that during last Tuesday's attack on Bare and Duwaya communities in the Damse local government area, in which 21 persons were reportedly killed, headsmen issued a quit notice to farmers, asking them to leave and never return. As a result, there is tension in the affected communities and farmers are unwilling to return to their farms. This could lead to the huge possibility of famine in the coming weeks and months, as most farms have been destroyed by the suspected headsmen. Al-Madu made this statement yesterday while hosting the UN Women Media Network, stating that women and children bear the brunt of the attacks. According to him, the indigenous Numan people are living in fear, and if the government fails to intervene during the current season, they would starve to death. Deputy Senate President Senator Ike Ekweremadu announced on Sunday that he has concluded plans to sponsor a bill to create state police. A statement by his special advisor, Media Uche Anichukwu, said Ekweremadu made this known while speaking at an interactive session with Fulbright scholars, exchange scholars, and graduate students at the International Center for Information and the Nelson Mandela Institute of Research. According to the Deputy Senate President, insecurity and killings persist in Nigeria due mainly to the fact that federating states were not constitutionally allowed to recruit, train, and equip enough manpower to secure the lives and property of citizens in their states. Ekweremadu said events in recent years have proven beyond reasonable doubt that the current centralized security system will never help the government to live up to its primary responsibility of providing security for all. Just recently, chairman of the Governors Forum and governor of Zamfara State relinquished his position as chief security advisor of his state, citing the current constitutional arrangement denying him the powers, manpower, and resources to stem the killings in his state. Meanwhile, the national chairman of Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore, Alhaji Abdullahi Bodejo, has allegedly been quoted as saying that all the land in Nigeria belongs to the Fulani, and anyone claiming to own land that they will not release to the federal government for ranching is being selfish. This was a response to some state governors saying they had no land for cattle ranch. According to him, if cattle markets across the country are closed, the economy will suffer. He gave the instance of Lagos State slaughtering almost 6,000 cows a day and the revenue that the state government gets from this. Bodejo, in an interview, affirmed that his group was in full support of the proposal by the government and that naysayers are opposing the move because the president is Fulani, while noting that ranchers would put an end to the herders-farmers clashes across the country. The chairman urged all to come together in efforts to build Nigeria. In response, the president of the Pan-Ndibo National Forum, PNF, and the grand patron of Ohaneze Ndibo Lagos State Chapter, Chief Guy Ikoku, in an interview said Middle Belt, South-South, Southeast and Southwest leaders are opposed to the launching proposal for fear of what would happen in the future. According to him, the alleged claims by the Miyetti Allah leader only gives credence to an earlier position that the proposal was a disguised plan to grab people's land and turn it into Fulani territories with time. Ikoku insists that cattle rearing is an economic venture and as such should not receive any form of special incentive from the federal government. He noted that the issue of herdsmen-farmers clashes was not new to the country, but called on for an end to irrational killings and territorial occupancies. He insists that it's only in restructured governance that Nigeria would have justice, equity, fair play, and economic advancement. INEC says it is taking hard-hitting measures to protect smart card readers and permanent voters' cards, PVCs, from unauthorized and mischievous access. INEC's Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Oluwole Osaze Uzi, in a statement in Abuja yesterday, said the Commission has received reports of attempts to duplicate the permanent voters' cards, PVC, and sell them online. Osaze Uzi, who noted that the electoral body will involve government and security agencies in curbing the menace, further noted that INEC had anticipated these and has proactively taken measures to preserve and secure electoral materials. He said INEC will commence systematic hardware and software upgrades of all its smart card readers nationwide this week. Still from INEC, the Commission has declared that it will publish its reports on allegations of underage voting in the last election in Kano State. This is according to its chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who made the revelation while speaking with political editors of media outfits in Lagos. Professor Yakubu also revealed that although the Commission had stated earlier that its voter register was not used by the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission for the February local government election, it would release the report by the committee set up to investigate the allegations in order to satisfy demands by certain quarters. The INEC chairman further commented on the cleanup of the voter register, saying that so far there were no observations on the registration of ineligible persons, and the Commission will keep strengthening the register. Ahead of the July 14 poll in Ekiti, Governor Ayodele Fayose claims that the federal government is purposely delaying allocations to states with the intention of instigating workers in the state against its government. Fayose, while speaking over the weekend on a radio and television broadcast in Ado-Ekiti, noted that the federal government has refused to share the allocation. According to him, the APC-led federal government had planned to delay the allocation to ensure that workers wouldn't get salaries until after July 14 election. The governor, while reiterating confidence that the people will vote the PDP, noted that the federal government owes the state 2 budget supports. The power of the people is greater than those of us in power. People's might is greater than federal might. Anything that does not represent the truth in this poll will fail, he is quoted as saying. Atahiru Bafarawa, a former governor of Sokoto State, has formally declared his intention to run in the 2019 presidential election on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Bafarawa, who made the announcement at his residence in Sokoto at the weekend, said his decision to contest is based on his love for the people. The presidential aspirant, who also claimed that President Buhari was a former student of his, said his experience spanned 4 decades of grassroots politics. He blamed Nigeria's woes on those he described as unprofessional politicians. Bafarawa was a one-time presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 2007. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has paid a second private visit within 7 months to former military President Ibrahim Babangida. The former Vice President paid a similar visit to General Babangida in December last year. Reports say while journalists were barred from accessing the premises of the former military president during the meeting, there were speculations that the meeting, which lasted for over 3 hours, may be connected to Atiku's presidential ambition. And on the foreign scene, some Nigerian students at the Cambridge University in England staged a demonstration over the weekend against what they termed government's indecisiveness in tackling security challenges in Nigeria. The students, bearing placards with various inscriptions, demanded actions to put an end to the killings and justice to be served for the victims of the attacks. This protest is in response to the recent attacks in some villages in Plateau State, with over 100 persons dead. According to reports by global rights group Amnesty International, over 1,813 persons have been killed across 17 states of the country in 2018, more than double the figure of 894 people killed in all of 2017. And in business, the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, has said that its debtors will no longer have any room for negotiation as it plans to implement the seizure of assets of its chronic debtors. Mr. Ahmed Kuru, Managing Director and CEO of AMCON, disclosed this in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria yesterday in Abuja. He also disclosed that the corporation will go after the directors and private companies of debtors where registered assets of the companies are not enough to clear their obligation. He said that part of the 5.4 trillion naira debt had been with the banks for 5 years before it was taken over by AMCON, and 7 years later after the takeover, the debtors are still yet to pay. As at the end of 2017, about 740 billion naira worth of debt had been recovered by the corporation. According to a statement by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), it has finalized the deal, which was negotiated with Schlumberger on financing crude oil production for the Ayalu and Madu oil fields in Niger Delta under oil mining licenses 83 and 85. The deal was actually sealed in London over the weekend under a joint venture agreement with Fast E&P. Mr. Ndu Ugamadu, NNPC's Group General Manager Public Affairs, said the agreement expects that the company would provide $724.14 million of the entire cost of the project, which stands at a total of $1.082 billion, while the $358.79 million balance would be funded with subsequent cash flows generated by the project. According to Dr. Maikanti Baru, General Manager, Director of NNPC, the NNPC Fast E&P joint venture project financing formula is aimed at funding joint venture operations, and that the Schlumberger financing package covers pre-final investment decision funding, pre-production operating expenses, and 100% of capital expenditure for 3 years. Baru also said the package will generate $5.60 billion in taxes for the country and $1.32 billion in net cash flow, Schlumberger's recovery cost. Entertainment news right after this.
In entertainment, French President Emmanuel Macron will visit a nightclub pioneered by Fela Kuti on Friday, the 3rd of July. It will be the first time a president of his nature will visit a venue that is known for protest music and racy backup dancers. The New Africa Shrine replaced Fela's original club, which was burnt down in 1977. But for many fans, the nightclub still represents the initial shrine. According to Olivia Luches, organizer of the event, Macron will be attending the shrine as a must-see place and that Lagos is Africa's cultural capital. The event will feature fashion parades by topmost African designers. Celebrated folk from Nigeria's Nollywood industry will also be in attendance. Macron, who attended the African Union Summit on Sunday, will initially visit President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss security and terrorism before approaching Lagos to attend the event. Daughter to former football star John Fashanu, Amal Fashanu, who is based in the UK, has visited Nigeria this month to receive an award for her contribution to the fashion industry. Amal was born in London but was bred in Spain. She's a model, a bag designer, and media personality. Her fashion brand was created 8 months ago, and it's an exotic mix of African and Spanish-inspired handbag collection. Amal was honored with the Young African Fashion Icon in Diaspora Dega Achievers Award, which was held at the Preskin Hotel and Resort in Ikeja over the weekend. Performances included comedy, fashion runway, red carpet, and much more. Her heritage collection will be officially launched in September. According to reports, Smoke Dogg, a 21-year-old Canadian rapper, is the latest victim in a series of recent gun violence. The artist was shot and killed in the Toronto Entertainment District. 2 male victims and 1 female were whisked away as their conditions were critical. Police say suspects have fled the scene in a black SUV or white car. Investigations are still underway, and associates of Smoke Dogg have confirmed on social media that he was the deceased victim. Smoke Dogg gained recognition when he remixed French Montana's Trap House, and in 2016 he worked with Skepta, and last year he was the opening act for Drake on his European tour. He recently dropped a new single titled Fountain Freestyle, which was slated for release later this year. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports right after this.
Update on Plus TV Africa. My name is Udoka Njoko. Nigeria's senior male basketball team, the Tigers, ended the second leg first round of the 2019 FIBA World Cup African qualifiers with a one-sided victory over Mali at the Indoor Sports Hall of the National Stadium in Lagos. And the Tigers trashed Mali 93-53 in the final game in Group B to extend the record to 6-0 in the qualifiers. And 19-year-old Jordan Unwara was the star of the show as he weighed in with a record 36 points, the highest score recorded by a Nigerian basketballer in a major tournament. And Ike Diogu, who scored 24 points and 5 rebounds, held the record until Unwara Jr., who is the son of the team's coach, Alex Unwara, as he surpassed that one. And Kehinde Meiti also added 14 points and 5 rebounds. And the Tigers started off brightly, winning the first quarter 22-15. In the second quarter, the Tigers led 47-25, while the third quarter ended 71-44 in favor of the hosts. And Alex and Jordan Unwara have become the latest father-son coach-player pair to represent the national team in African basketball in recent years. And 3 years ago, it was former Egypt Olympian Ahmed Mari who coached his son Assem at the FIBA AfroBasket 2015 in Tunisia in a tournament where the Egyptians claimed a 5th place finish. And the Nigerian team finished the qualifiers undefeated after 6 games. And the second round of the FIBA African qualifier starts in September. And the president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Musa Akida, was asked on team selection, and he said it was basically based on merits.
To renovate, using all the sponsors' money that we had gotten up to date, in order for us to have the facility ready to accommodate this window. Now, one of the tenets of my board is that we will create very sustainable programs in terms of leagues and whatever you have, but also in terms of infrastructure. And this is why we decided to make a show of hand by putting something that all of you can see that is completely different, that is very sustainable by definition, and that is permanent. What we have done is going to stand the test of time. I do hope that for the next 3-4 years, the infrastructure called the Indoor Sports Hall will be maintained at this level that we have put in. Now, we're not completely in charge. So again, I must confess that we're going to appeal to the good conscience of the people who are in charge, so that if we come back 2 years after to want to play an international tournament, it will have the same feel.
And still on basketball superstar Lebron James has signed a mega deal to join the Los Angeles Lakers. And for Lebron James, who is 33, he became a free agent on the 1st of July after his contract with Cleveland Cavaliers ended. And he has signed a 4-year contract worth $154 million, approximately 160 million pounds with the LA Lakers. While saying his goodbyes to his beloved team, the Cavs, on Instagram, he said, "Thank you, Northeast Ohio, for an incredible 4 seasons, and this will always be home." And LeBron James was selected by the Cavs in 2003 as the first pick in the player draft, and he went on to establish himself as one of the best players in the National Basketball Association. And he was named the league's most valuable player in 2009 and 2010 after securing a controversial move to the Miami Heat in 2010, where he won his first NBA title in 2012 and added a second championship a year later. And James returned back to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2014, despite having 2 years left on his Miami contract. He led the Cleveland Cavaliers to their first NBA title in 2016 after they overturned a 3-1 deficit against the champions Golden State Warriors. And the Cavs' triumph ended the city's 52-year wait for a major sporting title. And LeBron James is widely regarded by many as the greatest basketball player ever. Well, he is a 3-time NBA champion, 4-time NBA MVP, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, and 8 times NBA Finals appearance maker, 14-time NBA All-Star recipient, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 7th all-time regular season points recipient, and 1st all-time playoffs points recipient. Good one for LeBron James as he makes that move to Los Angeles Lakers. And of course, in football, Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has signed a new 5-year contract with Liverpool. And the 26-year-old Egypt international joined the Reds for £34 million from AS Roma last summer, and has scored 44 goals in 52 appearances for the club. His new deal, which runs until 2023, does not contain a release clause. And Salah was the top scorer in the Premier League last season, netting 32 goals, the most by a player in a 38-game campaign to win the Golden Boot. And his performances also helped him win last season's Professional Footballers Association Player of the Year award and the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year award. Good one for Mohamed Salah as we look forward to the new season, talking about the English Premier League. But that's all for Sport Updates on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Back to you, Felicity.
Thanks so much, Udoka. And that's the news at this hour. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Do have a great afternoon.